Hello, David here again with O2 Performance and Recovery. Today, I want to talk about cell regeneration. That's a term that we hear quite a bit now, especially with all the talk and different types of things that you see online with cold plunge, with fasting, with putting your body through any kind of positive stress. That's what we call that. We call it a positive stress on the body. And cell regeneration is kind of what we're going for there. So what is cell regeneration? So let's define it first and then talk about why it's important. So cell regeneration is when we can get rid of the weaker cells in the body, we can maintain the strong cells, and we can create new cells in the body. Okay, so when you put yourself in a positive stress environment, which would be something like a cold plunge, fasting, and IHHT, intermittent hyperoxic training, then you can go through that cell regeneration process. Why IHHT is so effective, and I think a little better with that, is because we're creating new red blood cells at the same time. When you get into that hypoxic environment, the low oxygen, the body starts compensating for the oxygen it's not getting, and it starts creating new red blood cells so that the body has more carriers of oxygen throughout the body. So that IHHT, that hypoxic state, is what does that. So that's why that's a very powerful positive stress, and I think probably one of the better ones. But at the same time, so is cold plunge is really good. Fasting is really good, and you can think of some other, some extreme exercising and sprinting and other things like that, which some people can't do. So why do we need strong cells in the body? Well, those cells that are weaker in the body are sick. They're compromised. They don't have as much energy. When we get chronic disease, when things start to happen that aren't good in our bodies, a lot of age-related illnesses as well, they settle into those weaker cells in the body because they're weaker, they're compromised, things get in there, they have low energy. And again, the cells is what makes up your body, your mitochondria, and your energy. So the more strong, healthy cells you have, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to age, your recovery is going to be quicker, your immune system is going to be stronger. Just overall, you're going to have a better quality of life. So it's really important to keep those cells as strong as possible. And so when you go through that process of cell regeneration, or also some people would refer to it in a way as autophagy, where your body gets into that state that it's not pleasant for those weaker cells since they're compromised, and they're kind of like couch potatoes. They're not really a cell that likes to work or can work at a high level. So when you put them in a harsh environment, they can't survive it. And those cells in those environments get eliminated. Now, the strong cells you already have are going to remain because they're strong already and they can survive that. And then now, especially with IHHT, you're creating new red blood cells, which obviously are young and strong. And now your body's inhabited with a much better, healthier set of blood cells. So again, you're getting rid of the weak because they can't survive the environment. The strong ones remain, and you're creating new ones. When you can get into doing these positive stresses on a regular basis, and your body starts doing this constantly, well, now what happens? You got a lot healthier, better set of red blood cells in the body, or blood cells in general. And now, since they're more durable, you're going to feel better. You're going to have more energy. You're going to recover faster. Your metabolism is going to work better. You're going to sleep better. All these things start to happen in a positive way. But you got to commit to it. You got to get on a program and figure out what positive stresses you can do. Again, thanks for watching. David, O2 Performance and Recovery.